Hi, this is the YouTube clip to go with the first lesson on sociology. So if you're watching this, it might be that you joined a little bit late, or it might be that you were ill on the first day. Either way, this will get you caught up on everything you missed. So you will have been sent the PowerPoint. If you can have that open, and I'll go through what you need to do. Alright, so the PowerPoint will say theories on the family. So what we're going to be looking at in the first part of this course is we're going to be looking at 4 different theoretical perspectives on family life, on whether it's a good thing, a bad thing, and what role it plays in society. Okay. Now, what we do in sociology is we categorise, rather than colour-coded, we animal code each topic of the course. And for family, we use dogs to separate out each section of each topic. So what you have here is a picture of a dog holding up a sign saying theories of the family. You will put that at the top, at the start of your first topic, on your first page to introduce your first topic. Okay. On the next slide, you have got a list of key terms. You need to learn those key terms for an assessment. If you are 12A, you need to learn that for the 18th of September, and I believe it's the same for 12D, but I will just double check and let you know actually in the lesson. Okay, so you need to learn those key terms for an assessment in class. Okay. The next slide then, I've asked everyone to do this task. I'd love it if you could do it at home as well. Just give yourself 10 minutes and write a short letter to yourself. So it could be maybe things you're nervous about, maybe things you want to achieve, maybe kind of funny thoughts you have on the day. It doesn't matter what you write, it's for you personally, and if you give it to me, I won't read it. I'm going to put it in a box with all the others, and you'll get given it on your last day of school. And it's just kind of a letter to yourself to read on your last day of school. We then did a Kahoot, which you don't need to worry about. It was just kind of like a silly game to get people started. But if you have any particular lesson activities that you find useful or enjoyable, if you could take some time and just let me know, and I'm trying to incorporate them in the lessons at some point. Okay. Right, now our first topic, our first theory that we're looking at is functionists. What you'll find is that sociology is assessed with the family in either 10 or 20 markers. The 20 marker, you need to write 3 separate paragraphs. In each paragraph you need to show knowledge, understanding, evidence and evaluation. So we break each aspect of the course down into paragraphs. So when I'm in lessons with you, I'll say paragraph 1, and we'll get our knowledge, our understanding and evaluation down for paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, and we'll do the same. You'll get used to it really quickly. It might seem a bit strange at first, but you'll get used to it really quickly. Before we go into the actual theory though, we need some key terms that explain the general idea of functionalism. So if you can note this down, first of all, functionists are consensus theory, and what that means is they see societies running smoothly and they want to keep society as is, basically. They don't like social change, they like things as they are. Right, our next key term is a value consensus, and this is the idea that we all have a shared idea of norms. Norms are ways we behave, and values are what we believe. If everyone's got shared ideas and norms and values, then things can run smoothly. Now, to give you an example, you may have been in a lesson at some point where there's a lot of bad behaviour. So the kids weren't respecting the shared norms of behaviour and the value of education. And you'll notice when there's a lot of bad behaviour and people aren't respecting those norms and values, things can't go smoothly. And it's the same in wider society. Finally, our next key term is organic analogy. What this means is that society, they see it as like a body, with every aspect, every agency of socialisation, they call it, being linked to each other. So the education system is linked to the family. For example, the family provides the children to go into the education system. But each of these aspects of society have a unique function to play. Okay. There are key terms then that you should have got noted down. So our next key aspect is, our next thing to look at is we're going to start looking at paragraph 1. Okay. Now paragraph 1 is looking at Murdoch, and Murdoch is our functionist researcher, and he believes that there are 4 reasons why owning a nuclear family will do. Nuclear family is a family of a married couple with children. So if you want to note that down somewhere, if you didn't already know that, to help you remember. Okay, now there are 4 reasons why the nuclear family are essential. So if you want to fill this in on your table. Firstly, stable satisfaction and sex drive. Now, if you look at the slide after that, we can see that there has been an increase historically of an increase recently of STIs. These increases have gone up at the same pace as family diversity. What this suggests then is that without nuclear family, people are having sex outside of their relationships, and it's led to the negative impact of STIs. Secondly, the family is needed for reproduction of the next generation. Why that's important? If we look at the next slide, underneath the statistics on STIs, we've got some information here that a big population is needed for the economy. So the reproduction next generation is important because these will one day be making up our population, our economy. Third, socialisation of the young. Now, what we can see, the top right-hand side, we can see a picture of a girl who actually sees herself as a dog. She was kicked out of the family home and dogs raised there, and because she got socialised by dogs, she actually started to act like a dog. She barked, she ate raw meat, and this is just one example of what can happen without that adequate socialisation. So, for example, if you don't have nuclear family taking care of you, socialising you, they would say your child would be more likely to have mental health problems, more likely to fail in education, and less likely to succeed in a job. So if you want to put that in for the last one. And at the bottom we can see an article here that about benefit cheats. Now, where we can link this in with the importance of meeting the members' economic needs is that what they want is a husband to go to work and provide for their family, and the reason they see that as important is it makes you economically independent, so you don't have to depend on the welfare system to cover your economic needs. So hopefully you're all right with that. Okay, on the final column, we want to explain why only nuclear family can do that. So they argue only nuclear family can do this, no other family type can. So to fill this in, stable satisfaction and sex drive. We've got to remember this theory was written in the 50s, so they wouldn't have known about same-sex families. Homosexuality was illegal at the time. So they would have argued you need a man and woman, a woman to satisfy the man's sexual needs. That's a woman's responsibility. Reproduction, next generation, that seems obviously quite obvious. Biological reasons, you need a man or a woman. Now the last two, it's a bit different. Why you need a nuclear family is they would see it as a woman's responsibility to socialise the young, take care of the young, so you could put that in there, and the man's responsibility to bring in an income, so that's why that's needed. I've explained that kind of as best I can on here, but if you have any difficulties, let me know and I'll run through it with you. Last thing you need to do on this lesson, as I said in a paragraph, you don't just need your knowledge and understanding, you need to evidence and evaluate, meaning criticising. So you've got 4 pieces of information, one on gay surrogacy for men, one on single parent families, one on the alarming rise in STIs, and then we've got a statistic here, 62%. That statistic is the percentage of single mothers who are in paid employment and don't need to depend on welfare. So 62% of women are economically independent. For each statement, if you could explain whether it supports or criticises functionalism and identify why. And that is your first lesson covered. Any problems, please let me know. And if you want to check those 4 statements that you've got to write with me, if you just remind me, it'll take me 2 seconds in class to have a quick check. All right then, bye.